Well, brothers and sisters, today is my 39th video. And as we transition in the year 2020, that is from 2019 to 2020, I have a word for you all. Before I start, I will thank all my supporters, viewers, and fans of my disability ministry. May God bless you all. Hence, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. The title for today's preaching is Be Bold, Take the Risk no matter the danger ahead, and decide whether to go forward or to stay where you are. And this is the part 2 of the video. The biblical verses for this are, and particularly 2 Kings 7, 3-10. And it talks about the 4 lepers. Here the story goes. The 4 lepers said to themselves, if we go, we will die. And if we stay, we will also die. It will therefore be better to go no matter what. Brethren, can you take such a bold step as we transition from 2019 to 2020? The story tells us that the king of Syria sent his army against Samaria, and they surrounded the capital city. And with the city surrounded, the people could not go out to get food, and a terrible famine gripped the city. The people were starving in this desperate situation to the extent that they resorted to cannibalism. Outside the city wall sat 4 lepers. They were not allowed into the city because of their leprosy. They were in an even worse situation than the people inside the city walls. There are some lessons we can learn from these men that could help us towards conversion to Christ, progress and success in life as we enter into the year 2020. Firstly, they were leprous, and we are told in the book of Leviticus that leprosy is often spoken of as an illustration of sin. And this means that when someone is leprous, he is utterly unclean. Secondly, these men were dying, and they said to each other, if we enter the city, then there is famine in the city. We will die there. And if we sit here, we will also die of starvation. So the question was whether to go or whether to stay. What will you do when you are confronted with this dilemma in life? Thirdly, they said among themselves, why do we sit here and die? And fourthly, they rose up in the evening fearlessly and went into the camps of the Syrians. And when they came to the uttermost part of a Syrian camp, behold, there was no man there. They went into one tent and did eat abundantly and drank and carried thence silver, gold, ornaments, and clothing. Brothers and sisters, what do we learn from this story? Firstly, God uses those whom society marginalizes, the disabled like the 4 lepers, orphans, widows, the poor, the rejected, and the needy. These four lepers, living through times of suffering and dehumanization, decided it would be better to surrender than to starve. And on entering the enemy camp, they discovered that it was empty. God had caused the Syrian army to hear chariots and soldiers, and the entire army had fled in confusion. Often, it is when we take bold steps in life, like the case of the four lepers, that we see God's supernatural activity waiting for us. Remember that there is always a providential blessing on your life, and God always operates when we meet difficult situations. It was this providential move of God that caused the Syrian army to flee from their tents, leaving everything behind. Thirdly, there is the exceeding riches of his grace in his kindness towards us through Christ Jesus. There are riches both of the wisdom and the knowledge of God. Remember, brethren, that taking such bold steps, like in the case of the four lepers, is like when you rise up and come up to Christ. When you do this, you too will get the exceeding riches of God's grace and all that you need in abundance. You will be loaded with the riches both of wisdom and knowledge of God. You will be fully saved. Fourthly, they had been leprous men, dying from starvation, shut out from the city, waiting to die. They reasoned and thought about their situation, and they said, "Why do we sit here till we die?" They rose up and went and got what they needed, all that their hearts desired, that had been providentially prepared for them by God. Now, there is something I want to discuss with you. Let us ask ourselves, can we stay here until we die? Or, what can I tell you, brothers? No matter your situation, the circumstances, difficulties, and disappointments that you have, please never give up. Even no matter how sinful you think you are, never give up, but rather rise up and take up steps to turn these into opportunities. You can do this only by first coming to Christ, who will make you or take you into his bleeding arms and save you. Give you the energy, strength that you might withstand any obstacles in life, and also give you the spiritual riches beyond anything that you could imagine for. This is the 39th video. I thank you very much for supporting me since I started this ministry. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. God richly bless you all.